Paranormal. We're at WKDW 97.5, Real Community Radio, and we're here with Pam and
Sherry Zimmerman.
Yep. And we're doing an interview today for Down to Earth Shop and for Empirical Paranormal, and the event that's coming up on the 19th of December.
So so my show is called Secrets of the Universe, and our show does a variety of different types of shows. Right. So I'm really glad to have you on Secrets of the Universe today.
Thank you.
Good morning. Yes, this is so exciting. So give me Pam, if you want to start with your business and give your full name.
Sure. I'm Pam Malik. I'm with Down to Earth, and we just reopened Down to Earth in October of this year, and I had no idea everything that would happen once we started with our store. So I'm thrilled to be here and talk about some secrets of the universe that have kind of come to us. It's kind of one of those things where you're just going along with your life, and then this path lights up.
Synchronicity.
And exactly. Yes. And so on a couple Saturdays ago, Gina walked into my store and told me what she does, and then, you know,
I actually
after that.
Yeah, I just kind of I've known about the shop Down to Earth because it's been around for about 10 years, as we both know, the original owner. So yeah, I frequent there quite a bit. So when I came in and saw that you had continued the store, I was very excited.
So maybe a little background right now.
Yeah, background.
Would be a good idea.
And then maybe some of what you do there, what everybody's doing there.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So our friend Carol has had Down to Earth in Port Charlotte for about 10 years, and unfortunately in July of this year she was diagnosed with cancer, and they immediately thought they might just close the store. And my daughter and I, like you, we've been going to Down to Earth for years, and it's such an amazing energy.
Yeah.
So our initial reaction was, there's no way that we can let this close.
Sure, and let them know it's a metaphysical shop, so it has all kinds of, variety of things that is sold there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, to list them all is crazy, but we have crystals and incense and tie-dye stuff, and we have geodes and cool cotton clothing, and just unbelievable. And also classes, so we have meditation, like chakra alignment classes, we have crystal and Tibetan bowl meditations, we have yoga, we have jewelry and jewelry making classes. It's just, there's so much. And so my daughter Carrie and I said, we just can't let this close. So Carol's illness progressed very quickly, and so she was thrilled that we were going to continue her dream at Down to Earth. And so we opened and had meditation in Carol's honor in October, at the beginning of October. And that's when some stuff that we never even considered started happening. My daughter and her husband Bobby, they're, techie people, which I am not at all. And so they said, well, Mom, we really need some cameras in here. So they put the cameras up, and we had the meditation in Carol's honor, and we reviewed the tape after, and there were all these super cool orbs.
Oh, wow.
In the room, and literally, we have so much on video now of just like, and what do we call anomalies? And I have to admit, I'm a newbie into all of this.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I walked in thinking we were going to have a really awesome, cool retail store. And so now we've kind of coined the phrase Down to Earth, a gathering place. And what's happened is we realized people would gather, but we didn't know that we would also have spirits gathering. So what we're saying when we answer the phone now is Down to Earth, where spirits gather and people meet face to face.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah.
So when Gina came into the store,
Yeah.
She talked to my daughter and she talked to my mom. My mom Carol is there with us too a lot, and we had explained that my dad also recently passed in October, so his energy is showing up there.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. So the meditation that we had after Dad passed, there was actually an orb, and we're hoping to get this on our Facebook, Down to Earth, a Gathering Place, is soon. But there was actually an orb that came from the area where my mom was sitting. And Mom and Dad were married for 64 years, and he passed on their 64th wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So Mom was sitting in one area, and an orb came from that direction, and then kind of went by an open chair. So there were people on yoga mats, laying on the floor, and you could see it just come from Mom, and then go to that chair, and then do a 90-degree angle over these people that are laying on the floor, and then out into the store from the meditation room. Oh my gosh. And so, some people say, oh, this could be dust particles, this could be whatever. You can't tell me dust particles go in 90-degree angles. It was like with intent. And so we also dedicated a corner of our store to Carol's memory, and we call that Carol's Corner.
Oh, nice.
So in that part of the store, with all the lights off, it just sparkles like stars. It's just beautiful.
Wow.
And then my daughter was telling Gina also the day she came into the store about an anomaly. That's what you call it, right?
She showed me a picture.
And she showed her the picture, and so I don't even know what that means, but it is an area that was just glowing, and in an area where there's a bunch of jewelry, but there were no lights.
Wow.
Projected to that.
Hey, Gina, we want to get into the work that you do, but before we do, I for the show, I always like to have my guests give their full information of how they can be located by phone number, or because I like it in the beginning of the show and I like it at the end, so in case somebody misses it.
Right.
So if you would give, before we go on, can you give your location and contact information?
We're at 2792 Tamiami Trail in Port Charlotte, and the phone number is 941-883-6060, and we're right on the Tamiami Trail in between Port Charlotte Boulevard and West Tarpon.
Okay, and I'm sure people can also call you to get information or to get a reading or...
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
Is there any email or...
There is. Down to Earth AGP, a gathering place, at gmail.com.
Perfect. Okay, Gina, go ahead and give us your full name and talk about your work.
Okay, my name is Gina Caprari. I am the director of Empirical Paranormal. We're based out of Binghamton, New York, upstate New York.
Oh, wow.
And I've been down here for some few months down here with my mother. My phone number is 607-766-1654, and my email is ghostsofairies@yahoo.com.
Oh, nice.
And we do have a Facebook page and a website that you can go to. Just look up Empirical Paranormal, and we'll show right up.
Great. Okay, how did you get into the work that you're involved in, and tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. When I was younger, I grew up having a lot of different happenings with things like spirit, things moving and seeing things. And 3 years ago, I was asked to be on the team as an investigator. And so I did that for a while, and the director at the time decided to step down, and she gave me the team.
Oh, wow.
So I've been the director for a little over a year now, and we do all kinds of different investigations. We've done houses, we've done restaurants, we've done buildings that are being remodeled, we've done cemeteries.
Wow.
We've done a lot of different things, a lot of different places.
Okay, take us for a walk through a place. Like, what would be I mean, I'm very familiar with that kind of work. I've been in this for quite a long time, but and for the audience listening who may not be sure about what this is really about, so kind of explain a little bit about how it works, about how spirits may be earthbound, and a little background, and then when you guys go into a place, like what would we
Okay, spirit is everywhere. It's not basically just set in one house or one place. Spirit is everywhere. You could be in a grocery store and spirit is there. Okay. A lot of times if something tragic happens in a place, they will stay in that area. And there's also residual hauntings, which is like a movie playing over and over and over again. Like say if you're sitting there and you get up at the same time every day and do the same thing, well, the energy builds up with inside that building or house, and it replays that action over and
it's
over.
Like a loop.
Again. Yeah.
It's kind of like a loop.
Yes,
yeah.
Like a loop.
Yeah.
And then there's poltergeist, which is energy made up from a person that's going through something emotionally, or a child that's going through puberty at the time. They build up this energy, and it becomes a haunting. So, and then there's a lot of negative things out there, you know, that could be a haunting, and there's positive ones that are just, hey, I'm here. You know, pay attention to me. I'm trying to tell you something.
Yes. Give you a warning, or just let you know things are going to be okay.
Or if they have unfinished business.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, because we actually in the store had a young couple come in, and they were looking around, and you could tell, you know, they had a purpose, but they weren't really sure what they were doing. So, you know, I asked if I could help, and she said, yeah, I really need some stuff, but I don't know what I need. And she went on to explain that, like you were saying, a tragedy in an environment, they had moved into an apartment, and they would be laying in bed, and she would say, did you hear those screams? And he would say, no, but did you hear the gunshots? And so she said, we don't know what to do, but we Googled crystals, and you guys came up, because I've heard crystals help. So, so the young gentleman said to me, and the look on his face, like I'll never forget it, he said, I don't believe in this stuff, but it's happening to me.
Wow.
And he said it's so real, we are not comfortable.
Yeah, there's a great show, and I'm sure you might have heard of it, called The Dead Files.
Oh yes, I watch it.
It is my all-time, you know, I wish to God, and I mean this sincerely, that was around when I was younger, because I had my first attack, demonic, almost possession, at 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
Now, we all thought it was just a mental illness or a breakdown, which in some ways it was, but in actuality it was an actual attack, and it was horrible, and it was severe.
Yes.
And my family, we all went through hell, literally. So I am very attached to the show that it comes on. Right now it comes on Tuesday night on the Travel Channel, and it's not for the faint. It's a very deep, sometimes disturbing, so you really have to be, Amy's an amazing psychic medium, and she sees all kinds of things. But it, you know, for me, the show is really teaching people what the signs are, the differences between an earthbound spirit and a negative demonic, or, you know, it's amazing to me that, you know, this has been going on for, besides centuries, but decades and decades and decades. And it's like, finally, you know, somebody is bringing out the stuff that we've all been talking about, my grandparents, you know, whispering about those kinds of things, you know?
And he didn't want to tell anybody back in
No.
those days because people would think that
You're crazy. Well, that's what happened to me. I was labeled as schizophrenic, you know, when actually this thing was literally attacking me. And I had the experience at 19 where the bed was shaking, but there was no knowledge or material or a place to go to, you know, and mine was so severe, and I don't know, you know, how hard it is for people to hear this stuff, but I actually ended up in a mental hospital, a private one. My mother didn't want to put me in a state hospital because she always heard bad stories about
And they were
people
not
stay-
great.
They were not good back in the 80s,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Not that they're much better now, I
Yeah.
can tell you that, because I've lived most of my life in and out of these places. And because I've been attacked several times. They're drawn to me, like, you know, I can be outside at a picnic and nobody will get bit by me by mosquitoes.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, are you serious? Like, you know, it's the same thing with spirits. They're like really drawn.
Yep.
And I think part of that reason maybe I was, at 9 years old, Mother Mary appeared in my room, and I sometimes feel targeted because of that experience. You know, I'm writing a book about that experience that comes out next spring. But I mean, the thing that happened at 19 was pretty severe. I ended up in the hospital, and at one point I got extremely afraid, fear off the charts, and I don't know why, and I didn't know about the dark stuff. And I went in my room, blockade myself in, put my bureau against the door, and I didn't know I had my monthly, and I took my blood and put 3 crosses on the wall. This is all unconscious on some level, and I'm sure on another level it was, and it broke whatever it was. I mean, it broke it.
Wow.
And it totally, if something was in me,
Wow.
I mean, it was incredible.
Right,
So I have a
right.
TV show I'm really excited about. I might put that story on next
Right.
year. You know, it's called Haunted Hospitals. I watch all the
Oh, yeah, me too.
yeah. So I'm in
Yeah.
I'm in talk with the producer of that show.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah. But I mean, I love the work you're doing because I think
Thank
it's
you.
really, really important, you know.
It is. It is.
And on the Dead Files, you know, they show Steve, who's the investigator.
Right.
He talks with the children, and you hear these stories from families all over the country of children
Yeah.
who are having experiences.
And that's the main thing, like with my group, my team, if there's a child involved, we're right there. We're right there,
Wow,
especially
getting
with
chills.
children, because that's so important.
No, because
And
they're
they
so
say-
easily taken
Right.
over.
And they
Right.
say that, you know, kids don't have all that conditioning, and so they are more
Yes, they're
open
open.
and aware.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
spiritual force.
Yeah, I mean, I learned so much from her show. I mean, it's
Right.
an education for me. I don't even care if there's 20 million reruns.
Yeah.
I always get something out of that show.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, I honor people that are doing that work. Now, it's funny because I was going to actually talk to you about being a part of what you do,
Right.
but I'm so leery because I'm so easily attacked.
Well, there's ways of protecting yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
you
know.
know, putting the
I
white
believe me,
light.
I've studied all of it,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's just,
And
Yeah.
my daughter and I are Reiki practitioners. We're Reiki masters.
Yeah.
So we do Reiki classes, level 1, 2, and 3, and with Reiki, it's energy work, right? It's
Yes.
energy healing.
Yes.
So you get an attunement to just be aware. And so I have had, you know, saying I'm a newbie, I've had a lot of experiences over my
I
lifetime.
would think you would.
Where people pass and they come right to my house.
Wow.
And I light a white light.
Right.
Did I say that right? Light a
White light, yeah.
candle,
Okay.
and just invite them to go to the light where they're
Yes, to help them
they're-
cross over.
Exactly,
Yeah.
where
Yes.
their loved ones are waiting there for them.
Yes.
And so when this couple came in, you know, we had the knowledge to say, you know, here's some crystals, some selenite, here's some sage
Yes.
to do the clearing.
Yes.
And so the happiest part is that they came back and they told us that it is clear and they're very comfortable
Wow.
in their
Yeah,
home
you
and they
can tell
haven't
the
had any
difference.
more experiences.
Right.
So, but we're fully aware of the fact that, you know, our spirits that down to earth, they're happy. We do have mediums. We do have people come in and do tarot readings and
Right.
angel tarot readings and have had conversations
Yes.
and what do we
I'm a
call
psychic
them?
medium too.
Dowsing
Yeah.
rods.
I have
used
dowsing
those.
rods.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
And I have a
nice.
pendulum. And
Right.
I also have electronic equipment.
Oh, great, yeah, like the EPVs and all that kind
Yeah,
of, okay.
yeah, and I use a recorder to record
Okay.
EVPs. I have a ghost box that I use.
Yeah.
So we use different tools, and I'm also a psychic medium.
Oh,
and-
excellent.
And an empath.
Excellent.
So
Well,
those are
anything that comes
my
through, I'm
natural-
open. I'm
my
open for any
natural-
messages.
Natural tools. So.
Yeah. You know, I thought about seriously, now that I've got that piece of the puzzle to my, literally over 20 times I've been in the hospital. I mean, this is how serious it is.
Right.
And I know at least a handful were attacks. But unfortunately, We don't have people in these places or any of these kind of places that understand that.
Right.
So I thought about doing seminars one day, whenever that may be,
Right.
of showing the difference between this is when you're being attacked and this is when you may more have a mental illness, and they can cross between the two.
Yes.
There's a lot of similarities between the two.
Yes.
So, you know, I've read all the books by Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yes.
I own them. Their information was off the charts. If anybody doesn't know who they are, they're
They're the main people.
yeah,
You know, they've been around for
in the
many
50s
years.
and
Yeah.
the 60s.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you ever hear of the Holzer files?
I've been
TV
watching
show?
them lately.
He's been way before.
Yes, no, he was even
Warren.
before that. Yeah. It's
So I've been watching
amazing.
that,
I
yeah.
love. Yeah, I
Yep.
love that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just find it's frustrating for me because I bought land up in West Virginia back in 2005 to build a healing center, as I was telling
Yeah,
you,
you
Pam.
were telling me.
It was going to be called the Imagine Center, or Imagine, a healing center for the soul. For people, it's named after John Lennon's song Imagine. I'm a groupie. And he's still,
Should we sing?
him and I are still connected. And I wanted to have a place where there would be more awareness of this kind of stuff.
Right.
You know, where we would have psychic mediums in-house or working with us
Right.
who would help the people that, because in Warren's books, they talk about some people that were in mental hospitals and the family took them there with a priest.
Yep.
And it was really a matter of doing an exorcist, and that person was fine after that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, it's amazing to me that that hasn't yet. I guess I'm not too surprised. Things seem to
Become
take a long
mainstream.
time. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I like to see mental places all over the world have psychic mediums that come in and clear the energy, or Reikis, or shamans, or come in and clear that energy. Do you know how many people come in and out of these places?
Oh,
Right.
definitely.
Prisons. Same thing with prisons.
Yeah. The
Definitely.
good thing is that Reiki is now offered in some hospitals, and so I think as a society, we're starting to recognize that everything is energy.
Yes.
Everything
Yes.
is energy. I mean,
Yes.
how can
We're
we
energy,
deny that?
everything's
Exactly.
energy.
Yes.
And everything
And
absorbs
it's
it.
coming.
Yes,
And
it is, it is.
So it's medical, and
No, it is.
hopefully the mental health profession is going to get on board soon, right?
Yeah. Well, that's my hope. That's
Yeah.
my hope.
And
Because
with
to-
these shows you guys are talking about, it is becoming more mainstream.
It is.
Yeah,
So-
but it's always the person, the problem that I know of with this kind of work, 'cause I've been involved in the mental health field for 40 years now, because I've lived about 30 years in and out of these places. That's how severe. And I find that, you know, it really is a mindset, because the people that have the keys to either keep you in or let you out, if they don't believe or understand that world, and I'm not just talking, we're all talking a little bit more about the darker side. There's also, as we know, the more pure side, which is the
Absolutely.
angels and spirit guides and our loved ones who are passed on, who did cross all the way over, and they're not earthbound. So I find that it's really, we really need people to have open up these places that would be open to all of that.
Right.
Yep.
You know, so you can have a more, because being in and out of these places, I feel like nothing's really accomplished.
Right.
Because the same
Right.
energy is always there,
Yeah.
attaching on to them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
clearing those places
Thank
would
you.
be amazing.
Yes, it
Yeah,
would be-
that
it would be
awesome.
like-
Yeah.
And if
exactly.
you notice too, a lot of investigations are at mental health facilities or
Yes.
Trauma. It's
trauma,
yeah,
like
where
Yes.
there's trauma.
tuberculosis.
Yeah, but most of the
hospitals
places
or
are
anything
closed
like
though,
that.
that I've seen the investigations.
Yeah.
Most of them are going into places that have closed down
Yeah.
and they're,
Right.
you know. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about
That's-
ones that are,
Because they won't let you in.
But being that they're going through it while they're there, that energy stays there once everybody's gone.
Like the
It's-
little couple that came in
Yeah.
by us. Yeah.
Right,
so,
right.
So
and
that
it's-
energy will stay right in that hospital,
Right.
even though it's closed.
Right.
And
I'm
they're
s-
stuck.
oh, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
And they're
Okay, but
stuck.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
people that are still living.
Yeah.
Right.
And that are in places that keep going back in these places,
Yeah.
like myself.
Yeah.
But-
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but even though sometimes they're there for a while, and if
Okay.
they pass there or anything happens to them, that energy, they're still stuck there.
Oh, no, right.
So, you know, they're still going through trauma, even
Right.
though they've
Right.
passed on.
Right.
Right.
I'm so
Yeah, but I'm
glad
talking
that
more
you
about the living
mentioned-
people. Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned
Yeah.
our loved ones that have passed on.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
That have crossed over, because we've come up with a holiday spirits party idea.
Oh, nice.
And so people can have the opportunity to see if their loved ones are there, to get a message. It's Thursday, the 19th of
Okay.
December, down to earth at 2792 Tamiami Trail, Port Charlotte. Gina's going to be there with all of her equipment.
Oh, how exciting.
And we're going to have a meditation
I'm gonna miss it.
to
I'm gonna be
honor.
away.
Oh, well, you'll come to the next one.
Yes,
We're gonna
yes,
have
you're
a
gonna have
lot
more.
of these.
Good,
Yeah,
good,
Right,
good,
and I'm gonna go live then.
Oh,
and she's
good,
gonna go
good.
live,
Okay.
and so we're gonna see what happens. It's gonna be really
Oh, that's
awesome.
really
Yeah.
gonna be great.
So I hope everybody can make it.
Yes, and what was the
we'll
date
have-
again, Pam?
It's the 19th, Thursday, the 19th of
Okay.
December, and it's 7 p.m., 7 to 8:30 p.m.
And that's at Down to Earth.
At Down to Earth in Port Charlotte.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, we're going to take a few minutes break here, and we'll come back and talk more about this exciting subject. And I'm so fortunate to have both of you here.
Thank
So
you.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
And welcome back. We do this break in between. I have a song that I play on the radio on the show. It's just a really pretty song, and I kind of like it in between halfway through,
Right.
because it kind of gives it a little break
Yeah.
from all the information. So that's what that little thing was about.
Awesome. It was a virtual break.
Yeah, a virtual break, right. So yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know, you know, this whole new understanding of what we're dealing with
Right.
when we live in the physical plane.
Right.
You know, there's so much more involved than I think most of us, you know, on some level. I think a lot of us are very old souls. I know I've been around a long time. I've seen about 5 of my lifetimes, my past lives.
Right.
It's
So,
very interesting. To get
Yeah,
into
when you
that.
start
Yeah.
really clicking into other lifetimes, it's fascinating. And it's funny because Amy on the show on Dead Files has started actually saying to some of the people,
Yep.
well, you're drawn to that home and almost trapped by it because you had a lifetime there. You know,
Yep.
it's like
Yep.
fascinating, right?
Yes,
Interesting.
it
and
is.
and people, I've even heard of people who like they have this pain in their back and nobody can figure out what that is, and it turns out they were stabbed in the back in
Yes.
a
Yes.
past life, and then
Yes.
once that comes to their conscious
releases it.
awareness, it releases it, and they don't have that
Right.
pain anymore.
Just-
So
I
it
love,
really is
no, I
fascinating.
love that world.
Yeah,
And there's anything
and-
I've learned in my lifetime, it is that.
Yeah.
That people who've been sick for a really long time physically or mentally, as myself, or people who've had really experiences that they can't explain, but mostly things that you've tried everything and nothing
Right.
works.
Yeah.
Right.
That's when you go into past lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fascinating. That's one of my most favorite areas, you know.
It is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very
And we have,
fascinating.
we have so many cool people like you guys that just walk into the store every day and say, oh, I want to do this for people
Yes.
and offer this. So if, you know, anybody has a talent that they want to share, feel free to get a hold of
Yeah,
us at
yeah.
Down to Earth. We have a really nice
Great room.
classroom meditation room, and we can offer those past life
Yeah, no, I
readings. We
love
do
to,
have a couple people
yeah,
that
I
do
mean, I
that.
think my,
Numerology,
oh yeah, I
that's
love numerology,
fascinating.
yeah, I had a
Yeah.
numerologist on the show, but I really feel strong about doing classes or seminars about showing this whole thing between, you know, spirit world, and I'm talking, well, all of spirit world. I don't like to say one side or the other, it's really both sides.
It has to be.
And then mental
Everything's a
illness,
balance.
yeah, because I think there really is a lot of confusion in that area of our mental health, you know.
Right.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I might take you up on that, that would be
Awesome.
fascinating, yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So anything else, that other subjects that you find intriguing or interesting that maybe the public isn't aware of, or?
I also have a podcast that I run. It's called Let's Talk Ghosts. We just don't talk about ghosts. We talk about
Right.
UFOs, Bigfoot,
Nice.
the Mothman, you know, everything, anything paranormal or unexplainable, you know, that you can imagine.
And it's called Let's Talk Ghost, I love
Correct.
that. And how do they find that? It's a podcast, so.
Correct. Once we started going on air for a while, and right now we're just in hiatus. We're gonna get back into it within maybe the springtime.
Okay,
And you could check us out. We have a Facebook page still up and running,
oh, good.
and you could check that out. Go on Let's Talk Ghosts, talking about.
Okay, great. And that's
Very
another whole area, you know, it's really amazing that in the last 20 or 30 years, more so than probably any other time period in our herstory. I don't like history, that's his story just only, so I like her story, or our story, I prefer our story.
is
Right.
I feel like it's really, things have been exploding.
Yes.
Like everything's coming out, you
Yes.
know, the alien thing, you know, it's been a joke for so many years, and yet the reality is so obvious.
Right.
Which
right.
I think I had one experience in that area, when I was in my early 30s.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's like all these things are coming about,
Yeah.
you know,
and the
like,
Mandela effect and all these
Mhm.
other different things. Every time you turn around, there's something new that's unexplainable.
yes,
So
yes,
it's you know out there, and
Yeah.
a lot of people don't believe in it until it happens to them or they see something.
yes. Now explain that, because I'm not familiar with that,
The Mandela
Gina.
effect?
Yeah, what is that
Okay,
about?
It's like a time warp almost. It's like between
Worlds?
Worlds.
Oh,
yes.
that you're not
Oh, so
talking about,
different
what's the
dimensions.
other name for it, where the two worlds are going in this parallel
Parallel
universe,
universe.
because I've had that
Yeah.
experience.
Yes, and that's
Okay.
basically what it's about. It's two worlds, but they kind of like
They're two different dimensions,
Right,
and they're
and they-
paralleling,
right,
but they
and then
cross,
they
where
cross.
you actually, I've had that experience, it
Yeah.
was a very unusual experience,
Yeah.
it was very strange.
Yeah, that's happened
Yeah.
to me before too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why I find
Wow.
it fascinating.
Interesting,
And
yeah.
why do they call it the Mandela?
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
mean, I think of a
it's-
beautiful,
Yeah, that's what I
yeah,
think
Yeah.
of.
it's named after a gentleman
Um,
with the last name Mandela.
Oh,
okay.
okay, that makes
Okay.
sense now,
Between
okay, I just
Mandela-
known it as parallel universes, okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then you know, not only that, there's ghosts. There's the Mothman, Bigfoot. You have was it Nessie?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
the Loch Ness
yeah,
Monster.
Yeah.
And then you're finding new things that are coming out now, like the Tall Man.
yeah, and there's
The
also the
Slenderman.
real large angels that were
Yep.
that mixed with humans. I
Yep.
forget what they're called, but they're really, there's a name for them, and that was really interesting.
Right,
So
and
yeah,
Chupacabra, or is that the
yeah, it was something else. Yeah, I can't remember the name
Yeah,
offhand, but
there's
it's something that's become very.
different things.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like everything seemed to have opened up.
Yes.
You know,
And
it's
it-
almost like that invisible world is becoming more visible.
they
you know.
say the veil.
It's
Maybe
gonna
it's
thin.
thin.
veil is
Yeah,
thin.
It's
yeah.
thinning,
No.
And I really have always felt that, I mean, I'm pretty open-minded.
Mhm.
I've always felt that, you know, we would be very egotistical to think we're the only ones
Sure.
in the universe, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Humans
no,
are
totally.
the only
Right,
ones
totally,
in the
right.
universe. And I, you know, like I said, I'm pretty new to all of this stuff as far as the whole alien thing. And we have
Mhm.
someone that came into the store and she does card readings, and she does
I know her.
planet cards.
Yeah.
She does
Yeah,
alien
I think it's the
cards.
woman I'm thinking of.
And it was fascinating.
Yeah.
Just absolutely fascinating
Yeah.
for her to do a reading. So, some really cool stuff came out, and some lion species, I forget what they call it. Do you know
Yeah.
anything about alien species?
Yeah.
Well,
Like it's
not
lion.
too much, but
No, I know the
there's
typical, there's
something-
gray, alien, you
Yeah.
know, that type of
Yeah.
a thing, yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's all kinds of,
Yeah.
you know.
Of
It was
beings.
it was just super
Yes.
interesting and positive.
Mhm.
Like even if there's something like when the planets came up and you know the sun came up, but then one card came up that was the sun eclipsed,
Right.
and then
Right.
she brought it back where you know there's some things right now that are difficult for you. My father just passed.
Yeah,
you
right,
know,
sure,
my mother's
sure,
elderly.
sure.
I'm caring for her, so
Right.
some things are difficult, but the sun is here.
Right.
It's showing, you know,
Right,
that
right.
sun is gonna shine again.
Right.
You're gonna come through the eclipse. In
Right.
the old times, people used to think the eclipse, that's
Was
it,
like a
we're
negative
done.
type thing.
It
Yeah,
was
right,
the end
right,
of
right.
everything, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of times people, and with mental health and with
Yeah.
this negative feelings going on, I think they feel that eclipse. Like,
Sure.
this is the
Sure.
end, there's no
Sure.
hope. And that's what I love about everything we're doing at Down to Earth is about
It's real positive. Well, you know, and I think
It's
that's
about
also
well-being
the
and
thing that
positive.
I think is kind of interesting, because everybody does get worried about, oh, is it dark? Is it, you know, and it's sad
Mhm.
because of course none of us want to really look at that stuff. None of us want us to see that there's demonic or, you know, that's human nature that we want to shriek from that, you know.
Mhm.
But the reality is it's going on,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like having somebody in your neighborhood that's nasty or may bring harm. It's the same type of thing.
Right.
So we got the Long Island medium, who I love, still trying to get a reading with her, and she's all positive. She won't do any of the darker.
Right.
That's great. That's, you know. And then we have Amy Allen,
Who shows the
doing the
darker side
opposite.
of it, yeah.
So, you know, we have both worlds going on.
Exactly.
So I think
And
it's
then-
important.
Right, and the message is, even if there is darkness, there's a way
Yes.
to address it. There is
Yes.
light. I
Yes.
mean,
Right.
the sun can come through.
Yes.
So
Well, that's why
it's just
Amy Allen.
finding the
Yeah.
methodology.
Oh no, right.
That works.
That's why her show,
appropriately.
at the end of her show, she gives very detailed
Right.
information on what to do with what you're dealing with. I mean,
Right.
severely detailed. I mean, she
Right.
blows me away.
Mhm.
And what kind of healers that you need
Mhm.
to
And
deal
that's
with
it.
that type of thing.
What
Right.
methodology
Or if you need
is
to
gonna bring
leave.
the
Or you
She'll-
need to leave.
she'll tell
Yeah.
Or you
them
need to leave. You gotta go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is not a battle you
No,
want
right.
to fight.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's amazing. It really is. And
Excellent.
I've had experiences with angels. Only one particular experience with an angel. Actually, two. So it's interesting how a human life can experience so many different things on the planet, on Earth, you know.
Right.
And of course, there's interplanetary
Mhm.
dimensions or planets. You know, there's a really good book out by Dr. Linda Bachman, who wrote The Evolving Soul, having to do with past lives, but she wrote another one having to do with interplanetary souls, people who come here to Earth that are actually really from other planets.
The calm star seeds and all that, right?
Yeah,
That's
well,
what
there's
they're-
a whole
different
bunch of
kinds.
kind of different, you know,
Yeah.
things of that. She gives you like different traits of a person who's really not accustomed to the Earth's planet, which I said, yeah, that would be me. I am not. I love the Earth. I actually love the Earth, but it's never felt really like home for me. You know, even though that's kind of, you know, a real home is being in spirit. You know.
Right.
In the
Right.
crossed over spirit world, you know,
Yeah.
of that light and pureness and truth, you know.
And that's that whole, are we physical beings having a spiritual
Yeah,
experience?
no
or
doubt.
spiritual beings having a physical experience? And
Right.
I believe
Right.
that, and I mean, the energy that I feel from people that transition is usually pure love.
Yes, yes,
and joy.
yes,
And
yes.
the shedding of this weighted body, you know,
The shell.
coming back, the shell or the vehicle.
The vehicle.
Yeah.
We do law of attraction classes at Down to Earth too.
Right.
I love Esther Hicks, and
Oh,
she
yeah,
channels
yeah. Yeah.
the group of spirits that they call Abraham.
Abraham, yeah.
And they talk about how, you know, our physical bodies are like a vehicle.
Sure.
And,
Oh, sure.
And so
Yeah.
you get into a vehicle and
Yeah.
you have an experience in that vehicle to get
Yeah.
to your next destination. You get
Sure.
out of that
Right.
vehicle, you get into, you know,
Yeah.
whatever the
You shed the- you
destination
shed the
is,
body.
and then
Right.
you get into
Yeah.
another vehicle and you
Yeah.
go to your next. And
Yeah, which
so
is
they
what
make
lifetimes
that
are about. That's what
analogy.
past lives
Exactly.
are about.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
And
we're all here balancing what they would say karma, or balancing, you know, it's all for soul growth. There's no reason at all to be on the
Growth.
earth, basically.
It's the life
Than
school.
soul growth. I mean, I do
Yes,
believe some
that's
people
what
come
we're
as teachers and they're really highly evolved. So there's really not maybe a lot of learning they're doing.
Right, and some are
Um,
light workers.
Yes, yes. So you have these different, you know, people. And different, you might want to explain that for our audience. They may not be.
A light worker
familiar.
is healers. A lot of them are psychic mediums also, and they heal people.
Right.
They do the Reiki,
That's right.
and they also do readings, and they heal that person by letting them know that their loved one is fine. They let them feel good, let them know they're at peace.
Or just helping them move into
Right.
another point of their life. I don't think
Right.
it's just
Or tra-
giving messages from loved ones.
Right.
I think
Sure.
it's healing of, I think we're going to need all kinds of healing.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
You know.
because
All kinds of
again,
Yeah,
we're energy.
sure.
So
Sure.
when, as Reiki practitioners, we focus energy
Sure.
to help the body get back into balance. And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. That's what
Yep.
illness is about. That's
Right.
what it's
Right.
dis-ease. It's unease in your body. And
Right.
when you can, through Reiki, create a state of relaxation, your body self-adjusts.
Sure,
I
sure.
mean, Abraham Hicks, if anybody wants to YouTube, just Google YouTube Abraham Hicks physical well-being meditation, and they talk you through
No, I'm
just
familiar
relaxing
with,
your body and letting your body
do the healing too.
self-adjust. The cells are ready to do that if we release our resistance.
Sure.
Right.
You know, the other person I was really strongly attuned to was Edgar Cayce.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
mean, he was just another fascinating, and Nostradamus. I mean, there's a woman that wrote a book not too long ago. She's now deceased, Dorothy Cannon, that wrote
I've heard of her.
Channeling with Nostradamus.
Oh wow.
Where she was with other people, she regressed and didn't know she stumbled upon his spirit. And he went through, there's 3 books that she wrote about this, about her conversations with Nostradamus. Fascinating. I mean, I was really intrigued. I read all of them.
Right.
So, you know.
You'll have to give me that info.
The books are excellent. They're really, really great. So, you know, we have, thank God, all these people, but psychic mediums to me are very special, and Reiki people, and just people in this field, you know.
Yeah.
I've been doing astrology for 30 years and readings for 30 years. And I've done some mediumship work as well, and it's just, you know, it's amazing what somebody that you cross paths with can literally change your life.
Oh,
You know?
definitely.
It just gives you a whole new outlook. You know, once I got into my metaphysical studies between 28 and 30, which I believe it was always there, and most of us that are doing this have been really doing this for probably centuries. I feel like that time period is when just everything just opened up. You know, you see things differently.
Yes.
You
And
know?
a lot of times it is through trauma.
Yeah,
that
sure,
we
sure.
come to.
Yeah.
No
and-
doubt about it. No doubt about it.
And just kind of get that sense of.
And that's what I try
have
to reach people.
out. I
Yes,
have to
with
look.
mental illness, I say, you know, people might be of a typical belief system, whether it be Christianity, whether it be, who really kind of shun this. But I notice we're all the same. When you have a mentally ill person in your family, you know, you really do open up to some other ideas, you know, because it's kind of like, you know, there's something more that you might want to look at.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yep.
And
So-
truly, you know, there is one source, and we all agree on that.
Yes.
No
So
doubt.
I really think the inertia that we get into with all the dunk or sprinkle and this and that and different, you know, religious
Yeah, it
paths,
doesn't matter.
It really
It
is
is one
just
source.
keeping
No.
everybody busy.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
when all paths
Yes.
really lead to one source, and if we could get there, back
No.
to John Lennon.
Right, thank you.
Right.
When I was,
If
let me
we
tell
could
you,
get there,
it's the
yeah.
truth, Pam. I
Yeah.
was 9 years old when I was walking around my room. I don't know what I was doing. But I heard that song come on my little radio. Imagine that song.
It says it all.
I stopped.
Yep.
I could not move in my bedroom. I stopped until that song was over.
Yeah.
It had such a powerful effect on me, and I'm getting
Oh,
chills
yeah.
as we
Yeah.
speak.
Because it is true.
They
It's
just
true.
did a
That
movie
song
that
is-
came out. It's called Yesterday. If you haven't seen
I've
it,
heard of it.
oh my God. And thank God they brought that movie out, because it's bringing
It back.
that back.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you remember him? Don't you remember him? And it's like,
Yeah.
because that song was timeless.
Timeless.
And it so talks about everything in the world of the
That's-
physical.
That's church right there.
Yes.
That song is church.
You know, the
yeah.
brotherhood of man, and can you
Exactly.
imagine know this and know that, and
That's
it's
right.
it's like he was already there when he wrote that song.
Yeah, he
It
was
was-
way ahead of himself.
Oh,
And it
he was like in spirit
probably-
world.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
Definitely.
probably channeled.
No doubt,
You
no
know,
doubt,
I'm sure
no
it was
doubt,
channeled from
no
source.
doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Or he even had special abilities too that, you know, he knew.
Oh, there's no doubt. He
Yeah,
probably
there's
had
no
what
doubt.
do you call where you can see in the future, you know,
Clairvoyance.
clairvoyance. Yeah,
Clairvoyance.
no doubt about it. I mean, a lot of your musicians do have that ability. It's just because they're in that space,
Right.
the zone.
It's so
You
cool
know?
that you mentioned that, because one thing that really changed my life and opened things up, like I said, going, you know, about my life, my 9-to-5 job, getting this cool stuff when I can at
Yeah.
Carol's store down to earth, and really studying Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction, and how important it is to get positives into our minds. It's something we're not taught.
Yes.
And the
Right.
thing that really changed my life and has really just help me to know that I can live happily ever after right here, right now,
Yes.
regardless of the circumstances,
Yes.
is that positive first thing in the morning. So what I do is I have my cell phone, and I say, Siri, find me It's a Beautiful Day on YouTube, and it plays, Little
Right.
Rascals.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
it's
Beautiful
something that
Morning.
gets,
That's
it's something
what it's
that
called.
gets you
Or
in that mindset.
What a Wonderful
Right.
World by Louis Armstrong, or
Right.
something that just makes you
Yeah.
feel like
It's like an
everything's
affirmation.
all
Yes.
right.
Yes.
It's like an
And
affirmation that you do
exactly.
every day.
Yes.
Right.
That you tell
And
yourself every day.
Pharrell
Yeah.
Williams,
Yeah.
And it's funny because you're bringing this up because a
happy.
lot of Ed and Lorraine Warren's books that have to do with darker spirits and being demonically attacked. And John, their nephew, John Zappis, that's it.
I met him.
Love
He's a
him.
very nice
yeah,
man.
yeah, he's great. I love
Yeah.
him. In his books, they all talk about the one way, which is what you're talking about, to stay more clear of the darker side, is to have that positive.
Positives. And
Which
what
is
you
interesting.
focus on is what comes to you.
Yeah, right, right.
I mean, that is
right.
the
What
law
you
of
put out there
attraction.
comes back.
Yeah.
So if
It's
you
a
put
mirror.
positivity out there, it
Yeah.
comes back.
Exactly.
Well, you know,
And
it's funny, even though I believe that, I'll have to say, I am probably, I believe, one of the most positive people I've ever met of myself. and
And
that's
you've
not
had your
always
share.
been the case
Yeah.
with me.
Well,
It's
and-
weird.
And here's the thing, Abraham would explain that as contrast in
Yeah.
this world.
Yeah.
And you need contrast, same way, you need darkness to realize light.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, it's
need
the
light to
opposites.
realize darkness.
Right.
And so the contrast that we come across in life, if we take it as, oh my God, everything's awful now.
Yeah.
And, it's the end. Again, we're thinking the eclipse, everything's the end.
Yeah.
No, it's like, oh, I recognize this as not the direction I want to go.
Yes.
And then can we train our
Yes.
minds
Yes.
to then go and think
Yes.
about, and they're like, well, that means we're supposed to make believe then?
Yes.
And they say, yes,
Right.
make believe because we are what we
Yes.
think.
When I do tarot readings, and I've been doing them for 30 years, taught by Sandy Anastasia of Star Child a long time ago, who's really
Love
big now,
that. Yeah.
teacher of John Edwards, Crossing Over, he was on Crossing Over TV. But I find that's what happens with my readings. It's really more of a counseling session. And I find a lot of people didn't realize they were heading in a certain direction. And I said, look, this is just a projection of where your energy is out right now in the world and where it's heading. But you always have control, you always have free will.
Yep.
But if you like the way it's going, then everything's fine. But
Right,
I do
yeah.
see this coming up, a year from now, that you might want to, make a little bit of a change, so that can change.
Right.
So I agree with
Right.
you. I think it's a matter of, that's why I think I like light workers, because it is
Right.
always about
Positivity.
helping people with life transitions, that,
Exactly.
different things that they're.
My
Exactly.
favorite reading for positivity is The Secret.
Oh, yeah.
That was my main, I've read every book, I've seen the video, and it's true that the more positivity that you put out there and you help people, the more it comes back.
Yeah.
And that love, you feel
Yeah.
that love,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you have to love yourself in
That's-
order to help
that's the
others
key.
and,
Yeah.
and to.
No, I think that makes a big
Yeah.
difference. I think where I struggle and why it hasn't always happened for me, because
Right.
I'm very aware of all this stuff. I've had so many lifetimes. But in this lifetime, I chose what's called DID. I don't know if
Right.
you're familiar with dissociative identity disorder.
Yes, I've heard of that.
So that changes the ballgame a bit. So I think my people, which I call my helpers, have different things going out there. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's like I got different, things going out to the universe of,
Mhm.
So it's just interesting because I have always been extremely positive, but it has not always worked the way that
Yes.
The Secret says, but I think
Right.
there's something else going on.
Right.
And there usually is. There's
And
usually
again-
something hidden that you're not aware of.
Right, and it's the life
Unconscious
school.
Right.
messages.
Yeah.
And everybody is on a journey, your own journey. And all this light worker stuff that we do and all the positivity that we put out there and all the ghost hunting and
Yeah.
everything, it's everybody's journey, your own journey. You're on a journey, you're on a journey,
Yes.
I'm on a journey.
Yes.
Even though we're focusing on the same thing, we're all in a journey
Yes,
And
no
the,
doubt.
the coolest part
No
about
doubt.
it is the synchronicity, right?
Right,
Like
exactly.
you just happened to walk into my store,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah, it was
just
meant
happened
to
to
be.
walk
Yeah,
into
it was
my
meant to
store
be. It was
the
meant to
same
be.
day.
Yeah, I
It
don't
was the
believe
same
in.
day.
There's a book called "There Are No Accidents."
There
I don't have
or-
issues with that.
Or happy
Yeah.
accidents.
Yeah, happy
That's what-
accidents,
yeah, lots of
So
happy
we're getting
accidents.
close towards the ending of wrapping up our show, so I want to give our information again. If you will both tell your contact, your work, so people in my listening audience can get a hold of you. So, Pam, do you want to
Absolutely.
give it again?
Yeah, so we'd like to invite you to come and join us at Down to Earth 2792 Tamiami Trail in Port Charlotte. Our phone number is 941-883-6060, and that's pretty good. We just opened in October and got that number. Our Facebook, Down to Earth, a gathering place, and you can get us on email, Down to Earth, and that's 2TO, Down to Earth, agp@gmail.com.
Excellent, excellent, Gina.
And join us Thursday.
Yes,
the 19th
yes,
for
yes.
our holiday
Well, I think
spirit
it's,
party.
I love the name that Carol did, Down to Earth. It's such
Yeah.
an easy, simple name, so I love that,
Yes,
you know?
and that's the energy there.
Yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
right.
It's about the
Yeah.
earth.
Yeah, it's about the earth.
Yes.
Gina.
And I'm Gina Caprari. I am the director of Empirical Paranormal. We have a Facebook page. If you look up Empirical Paranormal on Facebook, and we also have a website at Ghosts of Fairies at yahoo.com. And also, if you go online and just look up Empirical Paranormal, we'll pop right up and check
That's
us out.
exciting. And for
Yeah.
anyone that's viewing through your Facebook or through my listening audience of Secrets of the Universe at WKDW, you can reach me if you have any questions about the show or about Pam or Gina. My website is called ImaginePeaceNow.com. Very simple, because I've had this name out there for over 10 years, and I'm waiting for us to all imagine peace now, so we can have it. That name like came to me out of, you know how that works.
Yep.
Out of the universe. So ImaginePeaceNow.com. They can get a hold of me if they have any questions too about the two of you. And I want to thank you both so much, and we're going to have you back. I like my listening audience to have recurring hear stories from same people, because I think it's
Oh,
I want people to get to know people.
And it'll be
you know?
fascinating to come back and talk about our holiday spirits party.
Yes,
and
right,
who all
yes.
came
Well,
through
I'm
and
gonna
how that-
talk Gina into doing some messages too.
Nice. Oh, yes.
I've had some
Great
psychic
idea.
mediums on, and we do messages.
Right.
You know,
Oh, that'd be
That'd be
great.
so it'd be
great.
exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always first in line. I'm like, I love my grandparents.
I'm also going to give her the evidence that I get on the 19th.
Oh,
I'm
great.
going to go over all the evidence and hand
Post
over-
it?
Yeah, I'll give it to her. She wants to post it, or if she wants me to post
Yes.
it, that'd be great.
Oh, that'd be
We'll-
exciting.
Yeah, so we will
Okay.
post it on both
Yeah.
of our
Okay.
Facebooks and
Okay,
so it'll
so
be
yeah,
at
and then the
Down to
next
Earth
show
and-
you can talk about what would occur, because I'm gonna be
Yeah.
away in North Carolina, so I'm gonna miss all that. I'm so sad. I would love to be there.
Well, North Carolina.
No, I have to go. I'm planning on hitting some of the metaphysical stores there, so.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
It's a great
yeah.
spot.
Well, I want to
Asheville's
thank my
wonderful.
audience, and we'll be back in next week with another show. I hope you enjoyed it this week, and we'll talk soon. This is Sherry Zimmerman, host of Secrets of the Universe. Take care. Okay.
All right, bye everybody. We're
Bye.
done with the
Thanks for
interview.
joining us. Stay
Yeah.
Check us
tuned.
out on Facebook. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. There's more to come.
There's a finish button, right? And yeah.